Salam, hello and welcome to our NSLI virtual event, One Day in the Life in Morocco. Thank you all for joining us today. We're excited to be hearing from the students on the National Security Language Initiative for Youth program in Rabat, Morocco, and to be connecting them with all of you here in the US. During today's event, our NSLI student speakers will present about various topics in relation to the theme of One Day in the Life in Morocco, including what it's like to learn Arabic abroad in Morocco, live with a Moroccan host family, explore the country, practice the customs and traditions, sample the flavors of Moroccan cuisine, and partake in the activities and hobbies that they've discovered there. These topics were chosen to give students, educators, and others in the US an inside view into the unique experiences of NSLI students in Morocco through their multimedia, which include photos and videos, and for them to share their valuable insights into the language and culture. We'd like to start off with a brief overview of what will be happening during this virtual event. The NSLI students will each take turns presenting on their topics, and during their presentations, the chat box on the bottom right corner of your screen will be open for any comments or questions you may have. And we certainly encourage lots of dialogue, including in Arabic. We'll be monitoring the questions so that if students are not able to answer them during the presentations, they can answer them during the Q&A. The Q&A portion will be at the end, and during this time, you can ask any questions you have to the students. This event will be recorded and posted on the NSLI Interactive website in the next few days, so be sure to check there to find the recording, and we'll be putting the link right now in the chat box so you know where to go. And I'd like to hand it over to Jennifer now, who will be just asking you where you're all joining from before we get started. Thank you.
Okay, Sabah al-Khair, Sabah al-Noor, everyone. Thanks for joining. Before we get started in hearing from our NSLI students who are in Morocco, which is the country you'll see in red, we'd like to hear a little bit about you and where you're joining us from. So if everyone could take a moment and in the chat box, just write where you're joining us from. So I am joining from New York, New York today. And also as you're typing, we have a quick poll up with how you heard about the NSLI program, if you're a student, alumna, educator, etc. So go ahead and find the appropriate response and take our poll. Wow, great. It looks like we have people joining from all over the U.S. I see Arizona, Illinois, Texas, Ohio, Alabama, Chicago. And NSLI students, can you write where you're joining from as well? Great, awesome. Thanks, everyone. We certainly encourage you to continue using the chat box during our presentation and to ask the students questions about their experiences. So please make use of it as we continue on. So now it's time to get started, and I'd love to introduce the NSLI student presenters who are joining us this afternoon from Morocco. And we have Emily, Megan, Zoe, and Fatima with us here today. So without further ado, we'll be turning it over to them.
Okay, can you all hear me? Hi, I'm Zoe Sheikh. I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio, and I'll be starting off our presentation today here in Rabat. My part of the presentation is a video on my day in the life. Basically, my friend Megan followed me around all day with a video camera, and then I went back and narrated my day. So without further ado, here's my day in a life in Morocco. استيقظ واختار ملابسي لليوم. اليوم سألبس تنورة وكوفية حمراء وقميص أسود. في الفطور أكل حلوى وخبز مع زيت مع كمون وملح والشاي. ثم أذهب إلى الترام مع مونيكا وميغان لأنهم تسكن قريب مني. في الترام أذاكر القراءة من الواجبات. ثم يواصل الترام في أيكتا حيث توقع مدرستنا أميديس. أحيانا بين الصفوف نذهب إلى مقاهي وزومبا هي مكاننا المفضلة. مرة واحدة في الأسبوع نلتقي مع طالبتين مغربية ونتحدث بالعربية عن مواضيع متنوعة. لكن إذا استمتع إلى القرآن في الراديو وموسيقى كلاسيك، وموسيقى كلاسيك أو كونتري استمتع اليوم أذهب إلى المدينة سوق كبير لكل شيء. اليوم أبحث لجلابة جديدة. هذا ليس جلابة لأن ليس هناك خبز. هذا جلابة جميلة جدا لكن هذه أصغر مني. هذه جلابتي جديدة. الجو حار لذلك أذهب إلى دكان البودة لأنها جيد جدا وليس غالية. أسير من خلال المدينة. أشتري عصير قصب أو سكر وهو لذيذ جدا. بعد ذلك أرجع إلى بيت أسرتي في الترام. في بيتنا نشاهد التلفزيون عادة مسلسل حريم سلطان وبوليوود. ثم نأكل العشاء. اليوم نأكل حريرة شوربة مغربية وبعيد وتمر وحلوى. ثم أقيم واجباتي وأحيانا أسرتي تساعدني في الواجبات. بعد ذلك أخيرا النوم. Okay, so that was my day. Then, so after that, we're going to move on to the next part of the presentation where we all have slides. So I'm going to talk about our Arabic classes fairly briefly. Every day we take Arabic classes for approximately 3 hours a day, 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. And for the first about 3 months of the year, we took both Darija and Fusha. Darija is the Moroccan dialect of Arabic, and Fusha is formal Arabic, which is not a native tongue of any Arabic speakers, but it's the Arabic tongue that Arabic is written in, and that is usually used formally, such as in newscasting or other formal presentations. In Arabic class, we are learning through the book Al-Kitab. We're currently on the second Al-Kitab book in chapter 8, and our goal is to finish the second Al-Kitab before we leave Morocco. Most days in Arabic, we go through the book, we review homework, we play games, especially with the vocabulary to help us learn it. We have presentations probably about once or twice a week. And that's basically what we do in our Arabic classes here.
Great, thank you so much, Zoe,
So
for sharing
next,
your
I think
wonderful
we're going to
video
move
with us. You've
to
done
Megan.
such a great job of documenting what life is like for you there in Rabat.
Hi, can everyone hear me?
Okay, hi, can everyone hear me?
Okay, السلام، أنا اسمي ميغان وأنا من ولاية أوهايو. أنا سأتكلم عن الأنشطة الثقافية والسفر. My name is Megan. I'm from Ohio, and I'm going to be talking about the cultural activities and the excursions. So Zoe talked a little bit about our Arabic language classes, which are the focus of the NSLI-Y program. We spend about 13 hours a week in Arabic class, but we also have other program planned activities as well. For the first half of the year, we had lecture classes every other week about different areas of Moroccan culture, such as the education system, learning more about Islam, and other topics like Moroccan music or things like that. For the first half of the year, we also had facilitated group language learning activities, or FIGLs, every other week. These are activities designed to help us interact with Moroccan culture in a hands-on way while using the language. Each activity had a different theme, like the hammam, bread making, or wedding traditions. The FIGLs were some of our favorite activities that we did all year. We went to a fabric souk in Saleh, as you can see in the left-hand corner. That was in order to pick out fabric if we wanted to have a custom jalaba made. For our bread making figgle in the upper left, Amadis arranged for us to spend an afternoon in the Medina with women who make different types of Moroccan bread. And then after we made the bread, we got to take samples of what we had made and went and had tea together in a cafe. And then on the right is a photo of our time when we went to a takshita, which is the traditional Moroccan wedding dress. We got to try them on and dress up like princesses for the day, which was fun. For the second half of the year, Amadis organized field trips for us to learn more about culture. For instance, we visited a rug making souk on the left-hand side. This is a women's cooperative where they make the carpets and rugs that are traditional to Morocco. We got to learn how to tie the knots and make them, which was really fun. A few weekends ago, we visited a farm to learn more about Moroccan life in the country, and I got to milk a cow for the first time, which was a unique experience. So for as much as the program is about language learning, there's a recognition that language and culture go hand in hand, and we're given ample opportunities to immerse ourselves in Moroccan culture, both through planned and unplanned activities. So next, I'm going to talk about our program trips. We spend the majority of our time in Rabat because that's where our program is located and centered, but we have taken several trips throughout the year to different cities in Morocco, including most of the major tourist cities, as well as some cities that most tourists probably don't get to visit, which is neat. We went to Fez, which has the world's largest urban car-free Medina, and we, this past weekend, went to the Middle Atlas Mountains, where we went on a hike and got to see and feed wild monkeys. The next two slides show pictures from our two long trips. This first one was our trip to the north in December. We went to Tetuan, which is in the bottom left-hand corner. Tetuan is in the northern region of Morocco, which was colonized by the Spanish. So the European influence is very prevalent in the architecture, and Spanish is also present in the local dialect there. While in Rabat, a lot of French is spoken in the Darija, the Moroccan dialect. There's more Spanish in the north. Morocco has an incredible amount of linguistic diversity, and it's something that I believe makes studying abroad here really special. On this trip, we also visited Chefchaouen, which is a small city in the mountains famous for its blue and white coloring, which it gets from Jewish refugees that painted the walls blue for the first time while they were there in the 1930s. It was my favorite visit during my summer program at NSLI-Y, and it was really cool to see how it was different in the winter when there were less tourists around. It was beautiful, peaceful, and the view of the sunset from the Spanish Mosque, which is in the right-hand corner, was incredible. Our second long trip was in March. It was kind of our spring break trip. We went to the south. We got to see Juma al-Finna and the Majorelle Gardens, and we met up with the Marrakesh NSLI-Yers for dinner and got to hang out with them for a while, which was cool. Then from there we headed west towards the coast and went to Essaouira, which is a small beach town. It's well known for its arts, and as you can see in the left-hand corner again, just beautiful colors. It's a great place to go shopping. And they also have a lot of silver making and jewelry, which is left over from the Jewish artisans that lived there in the past. And that's another example of Morocco's religious diversity in the history that continues to influence Moroccan culture as well as their religious tolerance, although 99% of the country's population is Muslim. I have a short video for you guys to show you to wrap up. This is of our trip to Waladia, which is a small town on the coast, most known for its oysters. Hope you guys like it.
From the lakeside, from the lakeside, from the lakeside from her hand that caught a glimpse of the rivers. The sea is dark for her hand, for her hand on the river.
Go for it.
From the lakeside to from her hand, from the lakeside from her hand that caught a glimpse of the sea is dark, I'm waiting for
What a beautiful video and wonderful photos, Megan. Thank you so much for making some of the special experiences you've had there come to life for us. And next up, we're going to be hearing from Fatuma, who will be discussing customs, traditions, and the local cuisine in Morocco.
Can you hear me? Okay. السلام عليكم، اسمي فاطمة محمود. أنا أتكلم عن التقليدية والمأكولات في المغرب. Hello, my name is Fatuma Mahmoud. I will talk about the customs, traditions, and foods in Morocco. Okay. The first picture is of Gnawa music. Gnawa music is a popular music in Morocco that is played in weddings or special occasions, and it derives from West African music. The second picture is a henna. Henna is usually worn for weddings or special occasions or Eid or for fun, like we usually have it here. The third picture is of refreshments. We have refreshments after lunch, about 2 hours after lunch, and it's called wajibat khafifiya, or light meal. The picture on the lower left is me coming back from hammam. Hammam is a public bath that we have in Morocco. I usually go at least once a month to get really clean. And then on the right side, I wrote dates and milk, or tamir wa halib, and that's for families welcome their guests with dates and milk. Even the king of Morocco, when he has guests, he provides dates and milk for his guests. The next slide, I'm going to talk about traditions. The first picture is Emily in a jalaba. Jalaba is casual, and most Moroccan women wear it. The picture in the middle is of Eid. It was the Prophet's birthday. Here in Morocco, we have 3 official holidays. One is Eid al-Fitr, and that's after Ramadan, and then Eid al-Adha, and that's for the remembrance of Prophet Ibrahim's sacrifice. The only one that we were actually here for was the Prophet's birthday, and that was a picture taken in Saleh, which is about 30 minutes from here. And the last picture is Zoe wearing a tuxedo. Tuxedo is a 2-layered fancy dress worn for holidays, weddings, or for parties. The next slide, I'm going to talk about ta'am, or foods. For breakfast, we usually have on the lower left asl, which is honey, bread, or khubz, and the laughing cow cheese, and also amul, which is a mixture of argan, oil, honey, and almonds. For lunch, we usually have rice or simple meats like laham and peas, or sometimes on Fridays, since it's seen as a holy day, we have couscous. Couscous is really good. And then right next to couscous, there's a picture of me pouring mint tea. Mint tea is very special to Morocco. It's made of gunpowder, mint leaves, and water and sugar, excessive sugar, really a lot. And we have it at least 3 times a day for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But during the winter time, we usually have coffee because it's colder. And then the picture right next to it is raghaif, or bread. We learned how to make raghaif, and so we're really happy to replicate it when we get back home. And the last picture here, it's zaytun. It's the middle picture on the lower left, and it's a picture of zaytun, or olives. Our olives are very important to Morocco because we have it every day, and it's really good. It's one of the best olives in the world, and America imports a lot of it. Next picture is weddings or حفلة العرس. Usually weddings in Morocco are really big. They last about 3 days. The first day is a small or intimate party with the family. The second day is the hammam day. They go to the hammam, and then they do they do henna, and it's both worn on the hands and the feet. And then they usually wear a green tuxedo. The last day is the wedding day. The wedding day usually starts at 9 p.m. and can go down until dawn in the morning. And here we had a pretend wedding for Emily, and it was really fun and exciting. When she came out the room, we sung Salah ala Rasulullah, and this is like a congratulating song that we usually sing if somebody gets high marks on or gets a new job or is getting married. And then the next picture right next to it is a picture of the bride put in a cushion in a chair, and she's in the middle, and everybody's having fun and dancing along. I think that's about it. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Fatuma. That was a fascinating look at some of the customs and traditions in Morocco, and a very mouth-watering introduction to some of the delicious foods that you've tried. So last but certainly not least, Emily will be sharing with you more about host family life, as well as Moroccan friends and some of the hobbies and activities that they've taken part in as NSLI students in Rabat.
Hi, my name is Emily, and I'm from Maryland. Today I'm going to be talking about living with host families, having a social life while abroad, and the hobbies and activities that we participate in here. Alright, so first, living with a host family has been one of the most rewarding experiences for all of us. It's really a wonderful way not only to have a support system while in Morocco and getting used to living in a very different place, but also to be able to learn more about the culture in a more intimate and informal setting than you would otherwise at school or through books, etc. And so the 3 pictures shown are of me with my host siblings and my host parents, and they're wonderful. It's been a wonderful time living with them. And so one of the great things about living with a host family is the conversations you get to have with your parents when you don't understand something, or you see something on the street that you didn't quite get and you wanted to know more about. You can easily ask them. And playing with host siblings opens up a lot of interesting conversations that you wouldn't have had otherwise. We have talked about things ranging from religion to politics to what life is really like in America and things like that. And with social life, I think a lot of people wonder if it's easy for us to meet Moroccan teenagers our age, if it's hard to connect with them or things like that. And so while we do take classes 3 hours a day, 5 days a week with just the NSLI-Y group, we do get a lot of opportunities to meet people through Amadis. There's a lot of Moroccan alumni of exchange programs that are very involved. We have the language partners, as Megan mentioned earlier. And so we meet Moroccans through those venues, and so we've gotten to go ice skating with them. We go to the beach, and I even got to take a trip in January to the mountains with a few of them to see the snow. There's only very few places in Morocco where it snows. And finally, hobbies and activities. So when we're not in class or traveling with the program, there are a variety of volunteer and other activities that we take part in. So I volunteer at an organization called Fondation Orient Occident, and I work with refugees and asylum seekers, mostly from West Africa and also from the Middle East, from parts like Syria and Iran. And so it's been a really, really wonderful experience to get to talk to the refugees and talk to the people there and hear their experiences. And so in addition to that, we have done a variety of things. A lot of us teach English classes on Saturdays at Ahmed East. A few of the girls volunteer in the nearby city of Saleh with English teaching. I've gotten to do painting classes in the Medina, and we've tried a variety of other things like belly dancing and surfing, and there was even a Model UN conference at the university here in Rabat recently, and we got to attend that, which is a really great experience, and you can see pictures of that on this slide.
Great. Thank you so much, Emily, for sharing about your lovely host family and friends and all the fun and meaningful activities and hobbies you've been able to get involved in as a NSLI student in Morocco. So now that our NSLI student presenters have brought us into their lives in Morocco and provided us a lens into the Arabic language and Moroccan culture, I'm sure we all have lots of great questions we'd love to ask them. So we'd like to now open it up. First, we'll ask all of the NSLI student presenters to come back on their webcam so we can see all of their celebrity faces. And we'd like to open it up to all of you in the audience to ask them any questions that you may have. So please go ahead and type your questions in the chat box. Okay, great question. I see that Diana asked, what types of gifts did you bring to your host families? Would one of you like to answer that? You can go ahead and just turn on your mic if you'd like. Okay, I think there's a slight delay, so if everyone can bear with us, that would be great. But students, whenever you're ready to answer some of the questions, you can start with what types of gifts you brought to your host family and what you think has been the most meaningful thing you've gained from the experience.
Go ahead and hopefully.
Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and hear
Host family gifts
hear me.
are something that
idea to bring just as a welcoming gift for your family, since they are going to be taking you in and treating you like a family member for the next 7 weeks. No? Okay. I don't know if this is going. You can. Okay. Okay. So some of the host family gifts that I brought were a book of pictures of my hometown. I brought a small photo album showing me, my family, my pets, the things that I love from home and wanted to share with them here. Bringing some kind of food product made from where you live can be a good idea, like maple syrup or jam or something like that. Just make sure that it is fine as far as airline restrictions go.
Okay, thank you. Would anyone like to share?
Had here was being able to speak Darija with my host family and actually being able to like freely express myself, talk to them, and actually discuss a few topics that are happening here in Morocco and in America.
Okay, thank you guys. I think it may be that the webcam may be slowing down the connection a bit with you all, so maybe we can try, if you don't mind, just going on the webcam if you're answering the question, and then otherwise not being on the webcam at that time. So let's see what other great questions we have here. I see that someone asked the significance of henna. Does it have a certain significance? Is it just a decoration? As well as everyday recommendations on places to, let's see, to buy clothing. So any of you can go.
Can you hear me?
Okay, Megan, since you're up, would you like to go ahead and share a bit about that, about henna, or you can answer any of the questions.
Can you hear me? Okay, my audio says it's on. Can you hear me now? Okay, good. So somebody asked where they bought clothing that's suitable for the Middle East. Morocco in particular wasn't too hard to shop for. I actually did my summer experience in Jordan, which is a bit more modest than Morocco. But I took most of my clothing from Jordan over to Morocco. I actually did a lot of shopping at Plato's Closet because I found that they tended to separate their clothing into summer clothing and fall clothing. So summer clothing being short sleeve tank tops, stuff that I obviously wouldn't need in the Middle East. And then I found a lot of good clothes among the fall clothing, a lot of 3/4 sleeves and long sleeves. Although about t-shirt length is definitely appropriate in Morocco. I also went to several thrift stores. I do a lot of shopping at secondhand places, so I found that thrift stores and consignment shops such as Plato's Closet are good places to find things, since they do tend to separate what they have into summer and fall clothing. And fall clothing is where it's easy to find things.
Great, thank you so much, Zoe. And I see that Shanli had asked about the activity pardon and which was most memorable and why. Emily, perhaps you'd like to answer that about the activities since you presented on some that you took part in.
Can you hear me? All right, great. So, as far as our activities, oh, sorry, hold on a moment. Sorry, technical difficulties. Okay, so I think for me, the most memorable experience I've had so far here really has been working with refugees and asylum seekers at Fondation Orient-Occident, because not only have I learned more about Moroccan culture, but I've been learning so much about how others see Moroccan culture, because we see it from a very different way than someone coming as a refugee would. And so it's been fascinating to work with these people and see how differently their experiences have been and what their struggles have been, not only in their countries, but coming to Morocco.
Thank you, Emily. And I see that Grace asked what it's like to make friends in Morocco. Maybe you can talk a little bit about how you've been able to meet your peers and become friends with them. Either Fatima or Megan, maybe you can share about.
Yeah, so making friends in Morocco is just like making friends any other place other than a language barrier, which can make things more difficult, admittedly. The place that we started out making friends was within Amadis. Either kids that are taking English classes at Amadis. There's the Access program, which is a scholarship program for Moroccan youth to learn English, and that's administered through Amadis as one of the organizations that does that. So we have found teenage friends through that. Our language partners have also become our friends. And then other friends really could come from anywhere. As we've gotten more comfortable with the culture and Rabat in the community, we found friends through our various activities. I know Emily met some friends at the Model UN conference that she just finished. Um, it really depends on who you are and how outgoing you are, because Moroccans would love to be friends with you if you give them the opportunity. And you just really have to be open about saying hello to people. If it's someone that you see on the tram often and they come up to you and ask you about life in America, that could be a potential friendship to make there. So really, making friends in Morocco is a great experience. It does take work, but it's definitely rewarding.
Great. Thank you so much, Megan. And maybe we can just end on one more question. So I know Mariah had asked what you think has been the most meaningful experience from your time as a NSLI student, and maybe you could also add a bit about what you plan to do in the future and how the experience might play into that. Of course, especially your language skills that you've acquired through the NSLI program. Maybe you can mention how your daily interactions and experiences have changed throughout your time there learning Arabic, and again, how you might use it in the future.
Hello, can you hear me? Okay, wonderful. So we've been studying Arabic all year long, and I think we are in the intermediate level. And so I, for one, am definitely very, very motivated to continue learning Arabic. Once I get back, I'm going to study it in college, and inshallah, one day I will be fluent. And so I plan to use that to work in international development or something along those lines. Zoe is planning to study engineering and architecture, and so she will be using her Arabic to hopefully work in the Middle East someday. And so all of us have different plans. Fatuma is planning to work in the health industry as a nurse. And so I think we all hope to return to the Middle East to use our Arabic or work with Arabic-speaking populations in the U.S. And even if we are not able to immediately use our Arabic skills while working, just the process of learning a language and connecting with people when you don't necessarily share a language has been a really, really wonderful experience. And just the entire year in general has taught us so much about ourselves, about traveling, about being independent, and things like that.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Emily, for sharing all those thoughts and all of your exciting plans for the future. So before we go, we would like to share with you some resources for the NSLI program. And here you see the NSLI website where you can learn more about the program, including how to apply, as well as the NSLI Interactive website, which showcases the language learning and cross-cultural experiences of NSLI students throughout their stories, experiences through their stories in multimedia. And as I mentioned earlier, we will be posting the recording of this virtual event and the students' videos there in a few days. So be sure to check it out. And you can also find stories, photos, and videos by and about other students and alumni in all the NSLI countries, as well as authentic language learning resources. So we'd like to thank you all so much for joining us today and for all your great questions. We hope you've enjoyed hearing from the students in Morocco and connecting with them. And a huge thank you and round of virtual applause to all our awesome NSLI student presenters in Morocco, Zoe, Megan, Fatuma, and Emily. Thank you all so much, and we look forward to more virtual events in the near future. Salam, everyone.